All right, Steelers fans, before we get into today's mailbag, we have the Chat Sports Challenge of the Week. One person on one of our Browns videos commented 101 times by themselves. I want to beat that record because, let's be honest, Cleveland doesn't deserve anything. So a shout out to the person or persons who sets the new record. You can just type PIT in the comments section. If you need to keep track of your comments, you can just type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. But shout out to the people who help us set that record here on Steelers Talk. It is mailbag time here on Pittsburgh Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I am Tom Doweny. We're going to have our mailbag, and as always, we are helping you guys get your questions in the comments by using hashtag Steelers and by being subscribed. That way we don't miss your questions and we can put as many up as possible. We begin with Vegas TJG. that's an I, or is it a J? Who knows? From Vegas. If the Steelers somehow have their worst season in many years and all the QBs play poorly, would they draft another QB and trade Kenny Pickett like Arizona did with Rosen? So we will entertain the hypothetical in a minute. But first, I think the Rosen case is a pretty rare outlier for any and all NFL organizations. The Steelers just drafted Kenny Pickett, and I don't think they're going to be a bad football team this year. I really would be shocked if they were in the number 1, number 2 pick range to get one of those top 2 young QBs that we think are going to be the top guys at this point. I would have more faith in Kenny Pickett. Even if you didn't love him coming out of Pitt, I don't think it's going to be a Rosen-level disaster. This organization is a much better one than the Cardinals have been historically. Now, that being said, in the weird hypothetical in which they do completely fall apart, they get the number 1 overall pick, next year's class, the expectation at least, is that it's going to be better than this one. Now, shout out to my boy producer Jeremy for building this next graphic, some top quarterback prospects. The top 2, the ones that would make you go, yeah, we're out on Pickett, is what it is, sink the cost. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Alabama and Ohio State respectively. Those 2, had they been draft eligible this year, probably would have been the first pick, and the Jags would have traded it down and pick number 2 to the Lions as well. I will make note there's an entire year of college football to be played, so they might regress. It's very possible. Other names on a very long list that I know Jeremy likes quite a bit: Jaron Hall from BYU, Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. There's like 18 other quarterbacks who are like, this guy could actually be pretty good this upcoming year. So producer Jeff says Anthony Richardson. Let's see him throw more than like 2 games worth of throws before we make that decision there. But it should be a good quarterback class. With that said, I don't expect Pittsburgh to be in the quarterback market next year, and hopefully not again for 10 years or so. So I want you to be honest with me. Did you like the Steelers drafting Kenny Pickett? Y for yes or N for no? This is the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, I want you guys to take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know if you like the Steelers' selection of Kenny Pickett in round 1. From J. Perry YT, I think Pickett will win Rookie of the Year. If not, who do you think will? I think Pickett is, if he starts week 1, or even like week 3 or 4 by then, he has a very real chance of winning that award because he's a quarterback. I don't know if any of the other rookie QBs are going to play much this year. Maybe Desmond Ridder takes over for the Falcons at some point in the season. But I do think Pickett should be among the favorites to win Rookie of the Year. And apparently that pick is split the fan base a little bit with 2 very different types of questions. Is he going to be a bust? Is he going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? I think the Steelers want Pickett to win this job quickly. I think his prospect profile indicates someone who should be able to step into the starting job fairly early on. So I would not be surprised if Pickett, even if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, is one of the favorites to take over and win that award. From an odds perspective, amongst the offensive players, Pickett, London, or Drake London, I should say, are really your two favorites. Garrett Wilson, Traylon Burks, Breece Hall kind of also in that conversation. Depending on where you're getting your betting odds, you can probably find Pickett either as the betting favorite or maybe second or third. I do think he should be viewed as one of the favorites to win the award this year. QB on what was a playoff team after all last year. Now, if you want your own Kenny Pickett jersey, get it today at chatsports.com/Pickett. We'll put that link in the comments section and in the description to make your lives a little bit easier, so there's no reason to delay. Go get your jersey now, chatsports.com/Pickett. From Ty Williams, who would you target in free agency to help shore up our defensive line? Now, I am assuming you're referring to the interior of the defensive line. I think edge is in pretty damn good shape for the Steelers overall. Maybe you want a third, but I think you're okay there. Cam Hayward is a superstar along the defensive line. If Stephon Tuitt is healthy, I think we all feel a lot better about that front. Beyond that, though, you're kind of banking on a bunch of, to be honest, lesser players. Chris Wormley's been a nice rotation piece. Tyson Alualu fits that mold as well. You did draft DeMarvin Leal pretty early in the third round. That could be a key piece for you. Other players on a very long list of late-ish round picks of Isaiah Loudermilk, Carlos Davis. I like Montravis Adams, but he's never really been the key piece that I thought he was going to be. I had a high grade. I'm coming out of Auburn all those years ago. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. I do wonder if the drafting of DeMarvin Leal means they feel okay about the position. If you wanted to go add somebody, there are still some notable free agents left along the interior of that defensive line. Akeem Hicks is still, I think, a good football player. Offers you 3-down impact, but age for almost all these guys is a factor at this point. Sheldon Richardson can be a really good rotation piece. Larry Ogunjobi, who I think we all know well from his time in Cleveland and in Cincinnati, more of a pass rusher, 3-technique style. Major medical issues, had that big deal with the Bears voided due to a failed physical. Linval Joseph, Eddie Goldman fit that run-stopping defensive tackle nose guard role, but both guys, especially Goldman, have begun to decline. So I wonder if Pittsburgh's mindset would be, hey, let's see what the young guys can do in camp in the preseason. If things don't look great, we could always revisit the free agency market later on in July or even into August. Now, when it comes to free agency, who do you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to go out and sign? Sound off for me in the comments section who you want the Steelers to. Keep it realistic, but let me know right now. King Ali 144, with the schedules being released, can we get an early record prediction for the Steelers? Maybe all 4 teams in the division. We will hold off on all 4 teams in the division, but I'll try to go quick here on the Steelers schedule. One overview note here is this. You want to start hot, and that would set the Steelers up for success. Now, we'll say that, go back to that first one, Jeff, wasn't done yet. We'll go quick game by game here, and we'll go mostly with the Steelers splitting the AFC North. That happens, they're in good shape. So, lost week 1, win against the Patriots, win against the Browns, who might have Deshaun Watson in that game, win against the Jets. At the Bills, week 5, loss. Bucks, loss. At Miami, critical pivot game there. I'll give them a win. And let's be optimistic and say they beat the Eagles in week 8. That's a 5-3 start. Bye in week 9. You can beat the Saints. We'll give them the Bengals win as well. At the Colts, I don't want to give out all wins for the Steelers on the road, so we'll go Monday Night Football loss there. Remember, still at 7 wins. Beat the Falcons, beat the Ravens, and beat the Panthers. That early part of the schedule does set up really well for Pittsburgh to win around 10 games. Now, Raiders week 17, Raiders week 16, Ravens week 17, Browns week 18. If you can win one of those games and start hot, this team can win 11 games. I think it's going to be challenging, but I do think that the massive gap in the odds for the AFC North, even though I do think Pittsburgh might finally have a regression year, they should never be counted out fully because Mike Tomlin has proven time and time again to be one of the best teams or best coaches in the NFL. Does the supporting cast step up? Very possible. They exceeded expectations last year. Can they do it again this season? I want you now to predict the Steelers' record in the comments section. Is it going to be an 11-win season, a 10-win season? What is it? Make your predictions for me in the comments section right now. From Ramtech, who I feel like always has a mailbag question somehow. If Joe Haden is available, do we sign him for $4 or $6 million or more? I do not anticipate that being the case whatsoever. Frankly, I only think Joe Haden comes back on a very cheap deal because the Steelers could have just, tried to work out a restructured deal. He is 33 years old. I am open to the idea of the Steelers trying to look into adding Haden. But I'm also not going to get my hopes up at this point. Ahkello Witherspoon, Levi Wallace, Cam Sutton. It's not ideal. I've also seen a lot worse cornerback rooms in the NFL. So I'm not writing them off altogether, but I would not get my hopes up for adding Haden back at this point, especially at the $6 million. That's a lot. If there's no interest whatsoever, maybe a cheap one-year prove-it deal, but I suspect Haden's going to end up going elsewhere in the end. If you haven't already subscribed to us here at Pittsburgh Steelers Talk, this is why you should. Daily Steelers coverage. It's all free, by the way, here on YouTube. News, rumors, breaking news as well when players sign or get cut or get traded or whatever. And we've got draft and free agency coverage year-round. Just the offseason I know is slowing down. We are not here at Steelers Talk. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe right now.